This is Storybook Radio.
Chapter 10. The omniscient lands in the shadowy back parking lot of Wynn's grocery store, his form shifting with fluid precision. His once ethereal and otherworldly visage transforms into that of an edgy man, clad in a tailored designer suit. His hair is styled in a calculated disarray, and his eyes, now a deep striking blue, gleam with purpose. Adjusting his cuffs with a nonchalant flick, he surveys his reflection in the tinted window of a parked SUV. Blending in with the human world requires careful attention to detail, and he is nothing if not meticulous. As he strides toward the store's entrance, the automatic doors part with a soft hiss, revealing a vibrant explosion of color and life. The fluorescent lights cast a clinical glow over aisles stacked high with goods. To the omniscient, the scene is mesmerizing. The sheer abundance of food and the artistry of their arrangement leave him momentarily awestruck. He steps inside, the hum of refrigerators and the faint murmur of human voices surrounding him like a symphony. Moving down the aisles, the omniscient's curiosity takes over. He picks up a bag of bright orange chips, turning it over in his hands as if studying an artifact. He marvels at the intricate packaging and the crinkling sound it makes. Placing it in his basket, he moves on, selecting items seemingly at random: a carton of milk, a loaf of bread, a jar of neon green relish. Each new discovery elicits a small, satisfied smile. The sensory overload, the colors, textures, and smells, fills him with a strange delight. When he reaches the checkout line, his basket is brimming with an eclectic assortment of items. He steps into line, his gaze wandering over the magazines and candy displayed near the register. Unbeknownst to him, the brown mustache man ahead of him had left his basket in place to grab a forgotten item. The man returns moments later, his expression shifting to irritation when he sees the omniscient standing in what he considers his spot. "Hey," the mustache man says, his voice curt. "That's my place." The omniscient turns to him, his expression serene. "Is it?" he asks, his tone polite but with an edge that suggests he already knows the answer. "Yeah," the man snaps. "I left my basket here." "Ah," the omniscient replies, stepping aside with a graceful nod. "Please, go ahead." The man grumbles, shoving his basket forward, but the omniscient's calm demeanor needles him further. "You could have waited," the man mutters. "I apologize," the omniscient says, his voice even, his gaze piercing. "I didn't mean to disrupt your day." The subtle sarcasm in his tone is not lost on the man, whose irritation boils over. "What's your problem?" he demands, his voice rising. The omniscient tilts his head, studying the man with mild curiosity. "I'm merely observing," he says, a faint smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "You seem agitated. Would you like to share why?" Before the man can respond, the air around them shifts. With a casual flick of his wrist, the omniscient projects an enormous holographic screen into the air above the checkout line. The screen flickers to life, displaying intimate details of the man's life: private messages, financial woes, a recent infidelity. The shoppers around them gasp, their attention snapping to the glowing display. The man's face turns crimson as he realizes what's happening. "What the hell is this?" he shouts, his voice cracking with panic. The omniscient remains unflappable. "Transparency," he says simply. "Isn't that what humans value?" Humiliation gives way to rage, and the man lunges at the omniscient, swinging a fist. But his target vanishes, leaving only a fading afterimage. The man stumbles, his confusion mounting as he spins to find the omniscient standing a few feet away, perfectly composed. "Is that all?" the omniscient asks, his voice laced with faint amusement. Frustrated, the man charges again, only for the omniscient to raise his hand. In an instant, the man is lifted off the ground, suspended midair as though held by invisible strings. The other shoppers scream, their panic growing as the store itself begins to shift. The aisles stretch impossibly high, the ceiling soaring upward until the space resembles a towering skyscraper. Shelves loom like walls of a labyrinth, the air thick with an unnatural energy. The omniscient glances upward, watching the man struggle in vain. "Humility is a lesson best learned through experience," he says, his voice echoing in the distorted space. With a flick of his fingers, the man plummets, his screams cutting through the air. The impact is gruesome. the sound of his body hitting the floor echoing like a thunderclap. Blood pools beneath him, staining the pristine tile. The scene devolves into chaos. Shoppers abandon their carts, fleeing toward the exits in a frenzy. The store's warped dimensions make escape difficult, adding to the terror. Screams and the clatter of overturned displays fill the air as people push and shove, desperate to get away. The omniscient, meanwhile, remains unfazed. He steps over the carnage with the same unhurried grace, his basket still in hand. Reaching the self-checkout station, he scans his items methodically, each beep of the scanner punctuating the madness around him. He inserts a crisp bill into the machine, collects his change, and picks up his bag with a faint smile. "Thank you for shopping with us," the robotic voice of the machine chirps as he walks toward the exit. Outside, the rain has stopped, leaving the parking lot slick and reflective under the streetlights. The omniscient places his bag in the trunk of an unassuming sedan and drives away, his expression serene, as if the events in the store had been nothing more than a minor inconvenience. Meanwhile, news cameras swarm the scene. The bizarre transformation of the grocery store and the man's death dominate the headlines. Reporters speculate wildly about the cause, their voices overlapping in a frenzy of conjecture. Law enforcement arrives, cordoning off the area and ushering stunned witnesses to safety. In a modest apartment across town, Valerie sits frozen in front of her television, her dinner untouched on the table. The breaking news story plays on the screen, the surreal images of the transformed store and the chaos within holding her captive. Her heart pounds as she processes the implications of what she's seeing. "This has to be connected," she mutters to herself, her mind racing. The pieces of Phoenix's story, the gray theory, and the omniscient's existence begin to align in a way that sends a chill down her spine. Her phone rings, breaking her trance. She picks it up, glancing at the caller ID. It's Dell. "Valerie," his voice is urgent. "We need to talk. Did you see the news?" "Yeah," she replies, her voice unsteady. "I saw it." "This changes everything," Dell says. "Meet me at Starbucks. We need to figure out what to do next." Valerie nods, even though he can't see her. "I'd need some time to settle things. Keep me posted on your whereabouts." As she hangs up, she glances back at the television. The footage of the grocery store continues to play. The image of the warped aisles burned into her mind. She takes a deep breath, steeling herself for what comes next. The omniscient has made his move, and the game has shifted.